How do you define gender?
I really don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I'm a girl. I just know I am.
I'd say that gender, for a lot of people, is how you feel inside your head. It's not because of body parts, it's because of who you say you are.
Gender. It seems to guide us in every way. Take me, for example. I was born female. I believe that I am a woman. But am I more than just my body? This is the conversation we're having right now, because hundreds of thousands of people in America believe that they are.
Yes, we're taking your work.
You go to we?
Yeah,
Like
children.
all of us?
The children.
Oh,
and I
so
are
can you
taking
like
to
do a
work.
quick Target run on the way back?
These are the Zilovits.
Now we'll have a name Solomon.
Emmett, what are you gonna have for breakfast? All four of us are going for.
Okay, so when we go, I'm gonna eat this in the car.
They look like your typical American family.
Here comes the bride. Here comes
But there's more to their story.
I hold the stereo. Me and Kevin.
In the car, let's go. It's the big upside down frames and the concert t-shirt. So I think I was in 7th grade.
Christian was born Christine.
What do you see when you look at this little girl?
I still remember being mortified going to my mother's beauty salon, which was around the corner, and when they'd bust out the curling iron, we were like, no, Mom, don't let her do it. Even though I liked how I looked when I looked like a boy when I was a kid, I didn't identify as a boy. It really was a pop at 36.
What happened to you at 36 where that pop went off?
I think it was building in the year or two leading up to that, but I couldn't quite put a finger on it. I started to feel this just urge to present more as male. Like I wanted to go without a shirt, for instance. Like I could feel that male body coming through.
This urge Christine acted on performing in drag shows in Seattle.
I didn't really even get it then, but I was comfortable being around drag queens and drag kings.
But soon, what was an act became reality.
I go to work the next day wearing that same shirt and tie. I was getting more and more androgynous. One day I took myself out to the beach with my journal and I wrote to God, and God wrote back and said, "You'll be okay no matter what skin you're in." And I got it. I accepted it at that moment that I'll be okay if I transition.
Now Christine had to tell people, but how? Especially when it's someone you're romantically interested in.
I don't even remember exactly what you said, but I do remember
I
bursting
blurted it
into
out.
tears. So
We were in the middle of a dessert place. She said, get the carrot cake and get the check and let's get out of here."
I didn't see it coming. I had never known anybody who was trans, and I had, been a lesbian for quite a while. It had taken a lot of work to come out, and it was hard for me to imagine having a close relationship with a man.
Why did you stay? Because you didn't have anything really invested in the relationship yet.
I came to recognize that, I loved Chris for elementally the person who he is. And then I had the blessing of being able to go through transition with him.
Was there ever a time where you felt like, I can't do this?
The only thing that I think I ever tried to talk him out of or change his mind on was some of the surgery. Sometimes it felt a little soon for me, or maybe not totally necessary, but that's because I'm not living in his body.
Being on the fence was the hardest part. Identifying as male and not being on hormones, being perceived as female, was by far the most painful part. I think you've asked any trans person who is misgendered, especially on a regular basis, You know, it's a shot in the chest, it's a shot in the heart, it's a shot in the gut, however you want to put it. I see a man when I look in the mirror, but I also see a trans man. Sometimes it's frustrating, sometimes it's not. I don't have a female chest anymore because I'm all furry now and I've been on hormones for 8.5 years. I see who I should see in the mirror. I see who I see on the inside looking back at me, for the most part.
Christian has been on hormones for 8 years. He'll need to stay on them for the rest of his life to physically stay a man.
Was there ever a moment where it felt like it was too much to go through with everything?
Some days, yes. Thank God for therapy. I got to laugh a lot about the things that would make me cry. I got to process out how would I talk to my friends? How am I going to talk to my parents? And so I got to come up with plans.
But how do you tell your parents who have known you as their daughter that you're becoming their son?
And I made sure I sent pictures ahead of time so they'd know who they were going to be seeing when they got there. And they played bad cop, good cop, and several months later they decided they weren't quite ready to deal with who I had become, and they just needed to take a break to sort things out. And I called a good friend of mine, and she said, "Well, your biggest fear has come to pass, and here you stand."
Did you have reservations, like maybe I shouldn't?
No question. Because if I'm going to be on the planet, this is what I needed to do.
Within 6 months, Christian's parents accepted him as him, an acceptance he wants others to have early on in life.
This is the first one.
Chalkboards and all.
Christian plans to open the Atlanta Pride School, the first school in the Southeast catering to the LGBT community.
What would that have meant to you if you would have had this school, this environment, as a child? How would you have turned out differently?
I think I would have found myself faster. I really do, because there wasn't a lot of permission for kids or teachers or anybody to be lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer identified when I was a kid. Because gender really is a big part of most people's lives, especially when they walk out the door into the public.
So what is gender? For some, it's how we're born. For Christian, it's a feeling. One all of us may not understand, but something so real to him, he was willing to risk his family and friends for his future.